representing, and I guess I'll go with this intro since I panned over. In the top right, hailing from Poland, he is down 1-0 in the series, or 0-1, excuse me. It's Elazer.
In the bottom left, is the blue. Come on, it's a blue Zerg. It is Acer's Bly.
Are you surprised? I mean, you kind of do that little bit of a double take, and it's like, yeah, it's Bly. That's right. Who are we casting?
It's so. Honestly, that tweet from Bly was surprising to see him frustrated at the IM loss, and it makes sense to be frustrated for a big qualifier loss. But it's just like this guy he knows that like everyone knows him, but he just figures that he'll win and do dump damage anyways.
Yeah.
he's got a little bit of a cocky attitude, and it's always what's been like appealing about his play style for sure. So it's just I don't know.
We talk about his persistence and his stubbornness and all these other things all the time, but we'll see if any of those attributes are good or bad here. I do want to quickly make up for some subscriber shoutouts we missed. Thank you to Sloza 12,000 for the 12-month resub, Max Divi for the 13-month resub, and Fringe for the 12-month resub. So all of those over 1 year here on the channel. If any of you haven't submitted a request for a Partoof yet, make sure you send me a message on the Base Trade TV inbox there, and I'll catch up with you after the stream today. We did recently mail a bunch out, so I do know some people are still missing theirs. Do not message us if you're still missing yours. We have those addresses collected, and Zombie and I basically like mark out which ones we've sent. So everyone up till the last week has had Partoof sent out to
them. So going for the Baneling version that he did cancel in the last game once he realized that Elazer already had a nice setup build against it. This game, Dust Towers, very long map. Your overlord's not gonna actually see what's going on for some time, so he kind of has to commit. Even if Elazer is also like doing the same thing, he'd have to commit to it no matter what. It might still just work out though. Again, Bly has those the touch or whatever you want to call it.
The touch.
Make it work. Make it work.
The touch, the feel. The love. Okay,
the
nope.
magic touch.
Yeah. This is something, though, where it's still not even an automatic win. Like, even if you're completely caught off guard, we've seen small and rare instances where 3 hatch openers can still live through this. But, for example, morphing the Banelings right in front of Elazer's face. Question marks? Like...
I mean, there's so many Banelings
maybe
that...
he's counting on 1 hatching and just killing all the lings. Yep, boom! There we go. Now gets us surrounded on that first queen. This other Baneling going to be used primarily to zone out the other Zerglings, so that's why he tries to hide it back from the queen. But without that surround, it's going to be pretty hard to get up that ramp. 2 Banelings, however, can certainly bust this ramp. Queen with some focus fire takes out that Baneling, so no more advantage to Bly. But even just killing these queens is already plenty of damage, especially because Elazer's starting to go to roaches behind it. Elazer, funny enough, actually... He's actually got money right now, which is quite good for him. Baneling's going to zone out those lings, so he just goes to the top of the ramp now. Nothing left defending but 1 spine crawler. Bly can certainly work around this. More Zerglings coming in, but the Banelings for Bly. He needs 4 if he wants to walk into that mineral line, because the spine crawler will pick off at least 1. Kills a lot of the Zerglings. Did he scout? Did he see the Roach Warren, though? That's the really big question here. No. Oh, yes, he did. Excuse me. Looking at the wrong side. Yeah, he actually saw the Roach Warren, so he knows what's coming up next. Now, there's 2 things he can do. Either over-dedicate the hell out of things right now, or start transitioning himself. And it looks like sneaking some lings off to the side. Ooh, Elazer didn't see this.
Wow. Wow. He should be checking.
He knows that he just lost the fight to 8 lings. Like, what does he think? Like, Bly just took him home? He would have seen it with the Overlord. He has to know there's something up. But unfortunately, he doesn't. And these 4 Banelings could be what decides the game right here. Because for Bly, even though he's taking a hatchery behind this, he's still not going roaches. He doesn't have the best defense.
The worker count, man. Like, damn.
Yeah, 21 workers for Elazer. Bly actually has to kill a lot to make this worth it. So, some of the drones getting pulled right away. Baneling's getting some decent hits. 6 drones go down.
And a queen.
He's killed a lot of queens this game. I don't know that he's killed enough yet still. Even though he's got his hatchery down on the other side of the map, it's the fact that Elazer has got roaches in play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna take the roaches obviously a long time to get across Dust Towers. Oh, a couple of more, 1 shot.
I mean, he rallies in 2 at a time because a lot of these drones were so specifically low. If he had bulked up, maybe he could have gone in and finished the rest of them. But these men only heading towards the natural base. Bly, again, persistence, stubbornness. He's not going to give up. Continues to build more lings behind us. Kills more drones. Elazer now down to 11 workers. 10 workers.
In the last 20 seconds, he's done more damage than the first like 5 minutes of this game. Like,
yeah. And I guess at this point, what's nice is because he's hampered the economy so much, Elazer's not gonna have a massive roach amount. Then unless Bly gives away all his lings, he should be able to in turn build enough lings to surround the roaches and kill them.
Yeah, and there's not going to be a big reinforcement of lings either. So if Elazer pushes across with the roaches, he's actually opening up his main again, as well as like you're not going to have reinforcements. More roaches ain't going to come across, and lings are really the only option. So Elazer's kind of stuck. I mean, if he had all of those drones, he would have reinforcements. He would probably have another queen, starting to spread that creep, move the spine crawler forward, and he could probably have pushed out with the roaches. Now it's an evenish game. Elazer's still up on the tech with the roaches, but can't do very much with them.
Well, it does block the ramp, which is actually, you say not doing much, I say incredibly monumentally important to keep Bly from running up that ramp again. But in terms of anything else, yeah, I agree. He can't do much with what he has. Actually, what would be sick if he had morphed that Overlord, dropped into the natural base.
Yeah, that would have been good. That's the thing, is like you're like going for the roaches and using just purely defensively is not bad. Like apparently they're going to go into a macro game, but I think he was really hoping that he would have not taken 14 drone losses and would have been able to push and hopefully win and just kind of be like, haha, I got you, Bly. But even if Elazer wins this game, it's like, God damn it, Bly, like why do you gotta do this to me? Why do you gotta make ZvZ so frustrating?
But here's the thing, and this is actually, I think it's less obvious in ZvZ and a lot more obvious in say TVT, where the worker kills are less important, but more about your gains following it. Elazer's got a really big army supply right now. And it's kind of getting to that point where, okay, Bly might be up even 20 drones, but if he doesn't have his own army supply, a counterattack's going to kill him.
Yeah, Bly is certainly playing with fire the longer this game goes on. Because Elazer has...
That's Bly for you.
Elazer has gotten up to the nice drone count again, and he could reinforce with, a flood of lings, keep him at home, make sure that counterattacks don't do any damage, and I mean, Bly is just banking on him not moving across the map to get away with all that droning he just did. Now his roaches are on the way, and he'll be fine for an attack. I like this.
Gonna get a kill? No, gets a cancel. Could actually run past the ramp now. Realizing this, he's gonna just go for a scout. There's not a lot to actually kill at this point.
I think you really want to see the lair, and if Elazer's gonna do anything sneaky, like try and get a spire.
Yeah, actually does see that lair. Really nice. Not gonna see it complete by like 1 second, but still, knowing that a layer is in play is pretty important.
Even though there's no spire quite yet, just the okay there. Yeah. Speed of the devil. So spires for both of them. Damn it.
Okay. This is Muta versus Muta is stupid. I'm just gonna say that.
I love Muta versus Muta, but what's so odd is that like in Heart of the Swarm, you rarely had games that went Roach to Muta. It was always Muta to Roach.
Right.
But Legacy of the Void, it's the reverse. Like it's almost purely Roach to Muta instead of actually starting off with Mutalisk. And it can be so annoying. If you don't scout the spire and you have nothing but roaches, if it snowballs pretty quickly, you can't get the Hydra's count up. The Spore Codes only cover so much. It's very annoying. If they go for double spire, though, they're both just going to surprise each other.
Actually, it's pretty important that Bly is the one getting the scout on this. So, again, he comes into this a little bit behind on drones because he was tentative to swap back to roaches, and he dedicates a lot to his ground forces. His ground forces are good enough to overwhelm Elazer, and realizing that the spire was what was down, that triggers him to move out, because he knows it'll be some time before Mutalisks pop. So as he gets in here now, this is that same situation. We see it so classically. There's no 5 spine crawlers down. You're trying to get your Mutalisks out. Frankly, Bly's going to be able to keep up with the Mutalisks and apply a lot of pressure, but he's got about a 30-second window to do this. Because if he sits back here, the Mutas are going to spawn and just pick away at those roaches.
Yeah, this is pretty dangerous. Bly, okay, the rest of his minerals and gas do go into Mutas, but obviously less because he just put a lot more into roaches.
He can snipe this base. If Elazer wants to play passive, Bly could knock down the third. And that's actually going to help him get ahead in the Muta war because of the way gas income works. So he is going to focus this down, and he will get this base.
Can't get away with the roaches, obviously, but maybe distract the Mutas. His own Muta count is still steadily growing.
It's not much. It's really not much in comparison, though.
Well, 5 on 5 is going to be 10. So he just has to wait for these to pop.
Americans doing math, please.
Quay. Elazer, of course. Elazer never got a scout on. Bly's Spire. So he starts +1 weapons, whereas Bly could start +1 Carapace.
I actually like that right now he's investing in more units than the Carapace, but he'll win this Muta War. And if he wins the Muta War, he'll snowball for the ground fight afterwards. In fact, the Elazer just going to kind of duck away, maybe try and bait Bly away from this Roach fight. Bly unfortunately can't ignore the Roaches. He has to take this fight. So going to rely on Spore Crawlers and some Queen position to hopefully drive those back. Mutalisks are not accomplishing much for Elazer, but he is getting to that mineral line. And this Roach count is still big enough to do some pretty serious damage if ignored. A rally of units continues behind us, but those Mutalisks are awkward as hell and they don't know where to go. Bly may have just taken a huge lead in this game. The army supplies look even, but the Mutalisk counts, actually, they're surprisingly even too. I take that back.
Well, Elazer, he did have an opportunity. The Spore Crawler was a lot of position in Bly's main base, but he was focusing on so many things. You don't want to just leave the mutas. Like the number one rule of being Zerg, like never take your eyes off your mutas. And if you do have to, put them somewhere where they're super safe.
Yeah.
That is the best way to do it. Actually, Link's trying to get in here and get more drones.
Actually, you know what? I didn't consider this, but because Elazer had about a 10-worker lead for most of this, even before he even killed his first drone there, it's the fact that that's what lets him get those extra mutas he needs to make up for the losses. That's what keeps him even in the game. Bly's catching up on the drones now, but his Mutalisk count is being dedicated to pretty severely. I mean, you mentioned the whole weapons versus armor Carapace thing as well. I don't even know how this was a question for a time, but I guess it's because Muta versus Muta fell off for a while, but armor beats out Carapace by a very large percentage. It's not just like, okay, they even out because one's got weapons and one's got armor. The way Glaive Worm bounces reduced damage from armor is significantly better than the way they get improved through the damage.
Muta vs. Muta, like, it sucks when it finally gets to that point where the mutas just flap at each other and, you know, one person is the winner. Congratulations. But up until that point, it is a beautiful matchup. One that is dependent on, like, you know, yeah, upgrades, spreading your mutas, clumping them to actually snipe the muta that's on the front.
Okay, so the Defender's Advantage will work for him with the new mutas rallying in.
But the upgrade. It's not done for Bly.
No, it's not. And for that reason alone, Elazer's going to take a nice advantage into the fight. However, if Bly can trade out enough, this might not be too bad. This is a situation where the Mutalisk counts are still fairly even.
You barely ever see Muta fights go even, because it's usually only when they are sure they're going to win, they take the fight.
Right, and this is that Defender's Advantage kicking in for Bly. He was disadvantaged going into this through upgrades and somewhat through numbers, but getting even just 1 or 2 additional mutas in there, that turned the tide of battle severely in his favor.
It was the reinforcements, but it was also the fact that his mutas were split. I just went over, like, you know, the micro.
Yeah.
Actually, like, combining mutas, sniping muta at the front versus spreading the mutas and letting that Glaive Worm go onto, you know, actually just on a Ling sometimes, or in this case, Roaches for Bly right here. Bly might have just snowballed.
Maybe. This is getting a little out of hand. The Roaches are going to be scary to deal with. The Mutalisks have their Carapace upgrade now, so for Bly's sake, who's sitting on, I don't know, not that many mutas, but enough to make it so they can take this fight for certain. Roach is going to sit on that ramp looking happy. Some lanes get to the top for Bly's going to send those to the mineral line. Mutalisks are starting to die out. 11-5, though, still going to be the case. And Bly, oh, he's so close to pushing this into a victory. GG!
GG! Damn.
It's just Bly. Hashtag Bly on fire is going to be our second player to qualify through to the main event. Good stuff. That's with Harsum and Bly. I'm already